Hey guys, Davin here at brewbits.com. Behind the camera we got James. Say hello, James. If you're coming to us from our other video where I was telling you about the St. Peter's Cream Stout and how we are going to be splitting into 4 different stouts from this one kit, well, this kit is all about chocolate chip cookies. Nom 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 nom. So I've got a double pack here of chocolate chip cookies. So why don't we get brewing? So to start off with, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by making it up pretty much to its usual recipe. So I've got myself a bucket, I've got my trial jar, hydrometer, I've got my sterilizer, I've got my spoon for stirring everything, I've got my thermometer, and I've got my siphon. And more importantly, because this is a double tin kit, we'll need a tin opener. Right, so first of all, I'm going to take these out of here because there's a couple of things in here we're going to want. We've got a sachet of yeast and we've also got a sachet of Golding's hot powder. Well, that's gone because we're going off recipe. And then we've got the 2 tins of liquid malt extract. And in here, as you know, if you've done this before, they're thick and they are gloopy. So in my bowl over here in my sink, I'm going to pour off some really hot tap water and then let them sit for about 10 minutes whilst I sterilise everything. The tins have been sitting in the sink now for a good 10 minutes, and that will mean that the liquid malt extract inside the tin has become a little bit more runny, and that means it's a little bit easier to get out of the tin. Oh no! Let's go in the drawer to get a knife. Ooh, look how thick and black this is. It's like treacle. Oh, look at that. So whilst I was emptying the second can, I put the kettle on to boil so I could get 2 litres of boiling water. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use this to clean our cans out. So a little bit into each can, and then be very careful but with your spoon. Come on in, give it a little bit of a stir, and then start working it up the sides as you turn the can. It is really hot, and the can does get even hotter because you're using boiling water, so just be a little bit careful. And then once you've got most of it out, because it's boiling water, over to me a second, James, take a tea towel, wrap it up so you can pick the can up without burning your fingers. Almost done, but I think there's still a fair bit left in there to go. So let's do the other one really quickly. And just do that a couple of times if needs be until you've got all your liquid malt extract out. Nice and clean they are now, look. There we go. And then the rest of the water goes in the bucket as well. And then we're going to give this a gentle stir so that we get all the liquid malt extract mixed in with the boiling water. Now that's all lovely and mixed in, because we're going slightly off recipe with making this into 4 different kits, you would normally now top this up to 20.5 litres. But because I'm going off recipe, and because of some of the ways I'm going to be playing around with the ingredients in the other recipes, I'm actually going to top this up just to 16 litres now. So it just takes a few moments with cold tap water. So now I've added the cold water, we need to give it a really good stir to mix in the water with the liquid malt extract down the bottom. Lovely, that's all mixed in. So the next step is to split this into 4 different batches. So here I've got one of my buckets. What else have I got? I've got my little tap on the end so I can stop my flow. I've got a bucket clip which is going to go on the inside of my bucket, and I've got this little beauty, a jug, so I can measure out pretty much exactly 4 litres. So make sure that's in there nicely, clip that in, let's have a quick little suck. And we get the 4 litres going. I've got my 4 batches now of the St. Peter's Cream Stout. Batch of the St. Peter's Cream Stout is now gonna have the lovely addition of lots, sugar, of chocolate chip cookies. Now, I've never done this before. And I like chocolate chip cookies. So, do we add 1 pack or 2 packs? 1 pack or 2 packs? I'll tell you what. Let's go for it. Let's add both packs. Now, there's a little bit of information. James is coming in. Hey, James. What I'm looking at here is energy from sugars per 100 grams is telling me there is 31 grams per 100 grams, and this is 2 lots of 200. So there's 400 grams of sugar going in here. So 400 divided by 100 is 4 times the 31, and it tells us then there's about 120 extra grams of sugar going into this. So this is going to boost up the alcohol content as well. So what I'm going to do with this lot though is I'm going to get in and bash them down. So here's all my biscuits beautifully crushed up. Oh look, there's a little bit, big bit there. Oops, it disappeared. So in the bucket we've currently got 4 litres. So we need to top that up a little bit already. But because we're going to add these as well, I know that's going to soak up quite a bit of liquid, and I'm going to put it in a straining bag so we can squeeze it all out at the end. But I'm still going to add a little bit extra for a little bit that we're going to lose to the biscuit. So I'm going to fill it up by about another, so the litre goes in, and probably about another 250, 300 ml extra of water. So now I've added the extra water, I'm going to give it a quick stir, get it all stirred in. And now I'm going to quickly take a sample in my trial jar so that we can take the SG reading. Then, there we go. Everything's been sterilised as well. So what's this coming out at? So this is coming out at 1.04. 1.044 at the moment. But of course that's not going to be a total true reading. So we're going to note this down, but we're also going to note that we're going to add in about an extra 120 grams of sugar that's all mixed in with this lot. Now I'm not just going to pour this straight in, because it's going to be quite difficult to get it back out and squeeze it all out. So over here, I've got myself a straining bag, and onto my jug it goes like that, so it makes my life a little bit easier. And haha, my ladle. Woo. And in they go. So my cookies are all in my straining bag, and all I'm going to do now is pick them up and then tie a little knot in the top and kind of make it into a tea bag. So hopefully all the lovely flavours of the cookies and all the sugars that are in there now and all the flavours from those little bits of chocolate are all going to go in to the beer and add all that lovely extra flavours to it. Get it down in, get it dunked, get it moving. So this should, over the next few days, over the fermentation, every lovely bit of sugar in there should go, and all those lovely flavours from the cookies and the chocolate should end up, fingers crossed, in the beer. Right, one last thing to do now is add our yeast. And here I've taken the sachet of yeast that came with the St. Peter's kit, and I've popped it into a little ramekin. And in this little ramekin, I've measured out that it's pretty much 2 teaspoons. So it's a half a teaspoon into each one that's going. So I'm just going to literally pop that in there and get that out of the way so I don't accidentally get that wet. Give it a gentle stir in to make sure it's all hydrated and gets down underneath and gets it going. Right, so this now goes into my warm place and should ferment for about 7 days. In here, I have got the Stout, the St. Peter's Cream Stout that we added 2 packs of chocolate chip cookies to. And it's been fermenting away like anything, absolutely, really, really vigorously. Now, I've not been able to take a hydrometer reading on this one because of the cookies and whatever else was in the cookies that we added to it, so it might not have given us a true reading. But because I did a St. Peter's Cream Stout as a St. Peter's Cream Stout with nothing else added, I checked the hydrometer reading on that and it was in the same one place, and that was coming out at 1.016 constantly for the last couple of days. So because all the activity in this one's all died off as well, I'm quite happy to carry on. Now, in the top of this one, as you just probably noticed, we've got the bag of cookies, but we've also got this slightly different scum that I would be used to floating around. And I think that is because reading the ingredients in the cookies, there's oil and fat. So what I'm going to do is try and get this out very, very gently. I've just got a bowl here to stick it into to get rid of it. So just gently try, if you've got any on yours, try and just get this gunk out. You might lose a little bit of the beer. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start looking at removing that bag of cookies, and so I don't get any horrible nasties in there with my hands, I'm going to pop some rubber, well, nitrile gloves on and give them a good old squirting with some sanitizer, sterilizer even. It's just some Chem Sam that I made up a few moments ago. Lovely like that. Give it a quick swill off. And in we go. Now, if you haven't noticed, down here on my other bucket, I've got another straining bag. This is a fine straining bag because the straining bag we've used in here is a coarse one. And I'm going to try and use it to capture as much of the gunk that's on here so that we can recover as much of the lovely liquid that's been soaked up by these cookies. Look at that, that lovely juice coming out of there. Oh, it feels weird. So, as you can see, I've captured quite a bit of stuff, and there is quite a bit of oil from those cookies. So perhaps next time, might do it a slightly different way. But for now, let's get rid of those. Yucky, 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 covered in oil. And the good thing about those is they've got lovely clean hands. Right, that could do with a good wash now. That's gone. So now we need to siphon this into this bucket as well. And so to do that, I'm going to quickly grab my siphon. And I've also got here a siphon sock. Now my siphon sock's been sitting in some sterilizer solution, so I'm just going to give it a quick swill off, like so. And now is the awkward part. The siphon's going to go on, well, the sock's going to go onto the end of my siphon. And there's a little tie cord, and then you give it a little quick tie up with a couple of little knots so it doesn't accidentally fall off. And then got it into the bucket, and that's going to hopefully capture or stop and prevent any of these other little bits floating down into our second bucket. So a quick little suck and let it flow. And as this gradually drops down, because there's going to be sediment in the bottom, I'll follow it down with the sediment and tip the bucket up onto an angle so I can get as much beer as I can and relieve as much sediment in this bucket as possible. Because I'm going to be bottling this and I want this to have a little fizz, I've got some priming sugar here. And I could just pour the priming sugar directly into the bucket, but it takes a little bit longer to stir it in and dissolve. So a tiny bit of boiling water onto it in the bowl here, give it a stir and it will dissolve pretty quickly. Cool, now that's dissolved. That can go in. And then a really gentle stir, or a sterilised spoon, just to get it all combined. Come on in, James, and have a quick look at this, because you'll see on the surface there's still a little bit of that oil, but that shouldn't be a problem. So here I've got my siphon again. I've got the sediment trap on it. Don't need that this time because we've got rid of all the sediment. But what I am going to do is I'm going to take my hop sock again, put that over the end of my siphon, and that, as it drops down through, is going to hopefully catch most of that oil and prevent most of that oil getting into our final bottled beers. So that's it's a lot easier when you've got two hands, but there we go. And then this end, I've got my bottling wand. If I was doing a big batch, then I would put the bottling wand onto my bucket, but because we're only doing a small batch, that just goes on to the end of my siphon. But what we're going to do first of all is take my bucket clip, because I've got my bucket clip, which makes life a little bit easier. Pop that on the siphon somewhere about there-ish. Sweet, that goes down in. Lovely. And then we need to pre-prime this tube ready. Oh, it's a lot harder to suck on it once it's got a hop sock on the end. There we go. Look at that. Come on, come on, come on. Give a little bit more looseness to the end of that hop sock, and then down to the bottom and fill up the bottles from the bottom. I've got 9 bottles of our chocolate chip cookie St. Peter's cream stout, and so all I need to do now with this is put this in a nice warm place for the next 5 to 7 days for the secondary fermentation to occur and create some fizz inside the bottles. And then I'm going to pop it somewhere nice and cool, my garage, and it's going to be in there for about a month so that it can bottle condition and for all the flavours to really fully develop. So all I need to do now is make a nice little label for this. I don't have any labels at the moment because I've made this whole other batch, so I know that this is the cookies, chocolate chip cookies. I'm going to put some little purple dots on just to help me differentiate them. And then, yeah, nice and easy as that. Create some nice pretty labels, and hopefully in a month's time, if you like and subscribe to our channel, you'll get a notification even, letting you know that we've done a tasting video on this. There's a couple of things I would probably do a bit differently. I probably wouldn't use chocolate chip cookies again, just because of the oils that came out of it. If I was going to do it again, I'll probably take some wheat flour, roast that in the oven to get that nice, lovely biscuity flavour, and use some cocoa powder just to give you that chocolate chip kind of flavours from it as well. But you've got to try these things, you've got to experiment. If you've experimented, if you've made something similar with something similar like chocolate chip cookies or anything really that you've put into your stouts, then down in the comments below, let me know, and may even have a go making it ourselves. But for now, these go back into my warm place for about 7 to 10 days, then to my garage, and as I say, hopefully in about just over a month's time, we'll do a tasting video. But for now, thank you very much for watching. Happy brewing, and see you next time.